Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 where I'm going to show you my results section now and expand on some of the points that I raised in part 1. Now to give you some context before I move on, this paper is about mental fatigue. It's a survey of professional players. I'm going to start off with the first point, which is tables and figures. And you'll see this straight away within this results section. What you need to do is acknowledge within the text that there is a table or there is a figure. So I've done that here in this short paragraph. Now, you can put it in brackets as well. You can have a sentence with your results and then say in brackets, please see table 1 below, something like that is fine. And then when it comes to the table itself, make sure you have a title for it. Keep it nice and concise, but just make sure you have a title. And one thing that's really important to take away from this is if it's a table, have it labeled above the table. So you see here, table's there, there's my label. If I come down now, figures are the opposite. So here's a figure, you see these two bits here. Label it below. Okay, so table above, figure below. Okay, so that's the first element, nice and simple. Second part is using the correct units consistently. Now I won't go through the whole document, that'll take way too long, but I'll just show you one example. The bit's highlighted in green. You see this bit here. They're all percentages, and you need to make sure you're nice and consistent. If you read through this, you'll see a mistake. You'll see that here, I haven't put a percentage in, so I'm going to make sure I put that in. And typically this is just a proofreading error. So what I'd make sure you do is just go through your document, make sure every single time you put in the right units in. Milliseconds, seconds, meters, percentage, whatever it is, just double check. If you're sloppy throughout, you can lose marks. Now I've looked at this again and realized I've missed one. So mistakes do happen, just double check, make sure you're getting it right. Okay, let's go back to the top again. Next point, don't overdo the tables of figures. Now my word count here is what? 1294. You can shave a bit off here or there. It's really 900 words of actual text in my results. How many tables and figures have I used for 900 words of results? One table, one figure here. And at the bottom, one table. So 2 tables, 1 figure. You don't need to use loads. Just use a table or figure where you feel it's very difficult to put that into words because it's getting too long and confusing, like I mentioned in part 1. So for example, this table here, I needed that table. There was so much going on. It's very hard to put that into words. You can see so much detail here. So I've actually got very little text above. If I go up here, I've really just directed the reader and said, well, here's table 1, which presents this. If I tried to write that, it would be so stressful. So sometimes you need a table, but not always. Final part in purple, just report the results. I stressed this so much in part 1. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see in the results section. So I could highlight the whole thing in purple, but of course it would be long and confusing to follow. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples. This sentence I showed you earlier on, if you look at this, nice and simple. Most participants travel to training by a car. I don't need to expand on that. I don't need to say, well, that's surprising, or that's unsurprising because they've got loads of money and they can afford a car. You just say what happened, just describe, don't try and expand. So give your numbers, give your percentages, and then in brackets as well, you can put some of your statistical information as well. So for example, a p-value. Okay, so nice and simple, just clear sentences, don't try and expand. Okay, so let's just clarify that before we go. Tables and figures, label them the right way. Using the correct units consistently, just proofread. Don't go crazy when it comes to tables and figures. And don't discuss the results. That's why you have a discussion section next. Okay, so that's my short video on a results section. If you have any questions about a results section you want me to go through, please get in touch with me, Instagram, Sports Science Hacks. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.